Okay, I see it. I see the got it.
Okay, looks like we are here. We are ready. Fatherhood Think Tank tonight, December 12th. Um, Somebody's birthday eve. We want to welcome everybody here to Fatherhood Think Tank. It's Christmas time, it's holiday time, it's Kwanzaa, young Hanukkah. What else they have during this time? New Year's Eve, all those things. But that still doesn't stop the idea that we're still fathers who still have to do father things with our children, for our children, and with our children. And so we're going to have a nice conversation tonight. Um, One that is probably very impactful, and it'd be interesting to hear what the fathers who are on tonight say, because it's one of those topics that everybody needs to listen up for and hear, because it's it's really getting into the insight of men and his fathers and those kind of things. So tonight's topic is what is a man saying when he's silent? So that's one of those powerful statements that we definitely going to get and delve into tonight here on the Fatherhood Think Tank. With that being said, let me welcome our other fathers to the stage, and let them introduce themselves and a little bit about their fatherhood experiences. And then we'll get into this topic. The topic for tonight is um, um, what what is a man saying when he's silent at the Fatherhood Think Tank? Hey, like, share, subscribe, and share right now as we get ready to delve into this conversation. Fathers, go ahead and introduce yourself. Let people know who on the panel tonight.
Okay, well, I'll jump out front. Good evening, brothers. It's good to see you again. My brother Castro say, "Oh, my brother, welcome back." Listen, I just want to say what a pleasure it is to be with y'all. My name is Larry Jordan, father of two, grandfather of one, and always a joy.
Hey, good evening, gentlemen. My name is Lionel Lightborn. I'm a father to a tribe of seven young adults, three young ladies, uh, four young men, one granddaughter, and my first grandson, actually, on the way in February. So it's always a pleasure to be here. Oh, yeah. My last time being on here at 51. Right about that, Ron.
Yeah, I
Just sitting
like
there
that.
contemplating that,
Yeah,
boy.
that's a good one. That's a good
Uh,
one. That's a good
Yeah,
one.
over
You
the
having
hill
another
now.
party?
Over the hill
I
now. Over the hill now.
got few more hours left at
Right.
51.
All right. I got your beat. Elder Thomas Alberry, uh, been married 49 years. Next year will be 50. Uh, I have two adult uh, kids, my son and my daughter. They're both married. And I have seven grandkids, five girls and two boys. And you're in the right place for tonight. Welcome. Thank you.
Fisher Adams, father of three, one grandson, one adult, and one teenager, and one young.
Welcome, Fred. Fred has a lot of men, him has a lot of free time. I definitely want my man to introduce himself tonight with his 50-50. But let's go on to the rest of the introductions.
I'll go next. Good evening, everyone. John Alexander Ramirez, affectionately known as Castro. Father of two boys, 8-year-old and 4-year-old. And I passed the window of having any illegitimate children that I don't know about. So I'm married for 12 years. Grateful to be here with the rest of you gentlemen.
Yeah,
and I like the topic for the evening. This is
okay, so Castro is making me come up with another show topic. He just brought another show topic. You just brought a show topic that we need to investigate. So I keep that.
Okay.
I'm make sure I put that down because you said it, and as I think about it, that is a very and it's not again. Let's save it for that show. Let's save it for that show because that can be interesting.
All right.
Rohan, what happened? You on mute?
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, you look like a robot now. Okay? You already got the funny screen. I don't want you to.
Yeah, right.
The eyes.
Computer here. All right. Good night, fellas, fathers. My name is Rohan Rollock. I'm a father of two teenage girls. I'm a divorced dad who joins this program to learn, to grow, to be amongst men who care about children and care about their future. And I always say it's a pleasure being here, and just keep on growing and keep on doing the right thing.
Thank you, Rohan. Who is that? And I think only person left is Cornelius.
Great afternoon. Well, great evening. Cornelius Fuller, father of 3. Oh, I'm getting married in February. And I just yesterday, the courts just granted me 50-50 of my baby boy.
Yeah,
congratulations, ma'am, on both ends. That's like a
Yeah.
double congratulations.
Yeah. Actually,
Congratulations on that.
I'll tell you, Cornelius, you needed that before you got the other thing going. I'm glad it came before you got the marriage, because boy,
You're right.
You already know what kind of not trouble, but just what kind of thing come with that.
It's been a headache for 5 years. Yeah.
Cornelius, I wouldn't say it's a headache. It's work. You put in the work. You earned that. The court gave it to you, but you had to put in the work to earn it.
No, not saying my child was a headache. Say she was a headache. Ain't no work. She was a headache.
Well, we know that goes.
What you say, Ron? We don't like those words.
No, we know how that goes. It's a power and control. Remember that word.
Yeah, I know that power and control. Power and control. That's how it goes. Oh, we got who is that? I think I see him. There you go. We got Attorney Gaspar on here. See what he has to say. Good night, Attorney Gaspar, chaplain, and other
brothers. Good evening. How y'all doing?
Extraordinary positions, deacon of the church, trustee of.
I ain't quite there yet.
Yeah, president, CEO of one of the best charter schools in South Florida.
There you go.
Hey, member of the Cigar Bros.
LJ.
Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to let it go. My bad. Sorry.
I just really put you in the mix there.
Great to see y'all faces, brothers. Great to see y'all faces.
Oh, it's your introduction. Yeah, it's on you.
Oh, Brother Johnny Gaspar.
It seems like we did everything for you, but we let you.
Brother Johnny Gaspar, everything Rod just said. Father of 2 young adults, 24 and 21, and just excited to be here and share and learn tonight.
AKA the closer.
AKA the closer.
Because he got it. That's what we're gonna tag you, Johnny.
Listen, I got a
way of bringing things together.
Y'all need some assistance with that. I try to just bring it all together.
AKA the closer. That's it.
It's good to see Brother Ramirez face. I see you in a minute. Good to see you, dog. IT.
I saw you at Flomo Homecoming a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we said that was one of them rare times the chaplain was out.
Now he the chaplain. But let me tell you something. These guys, boy, they funny.
Bro, you were not on no chaplain service
Yeah,
that day.
yeah,
You was on some Q-Dog shit that day.
yeah, yeah. So let get us started. So tonight we are talking about a really great topic. What does it say when a man is choosing to be silent? What does it say when he's choosing to be silent? And when I first think of this, I think of I've been listen. I know for Cornelius, he's probably practiced that a lot in the last 2 or 3 years of knowing when the even me, even Cornelius in some of our conversations of when you should just be silent, don't say anything. Because anything you say could ignite. I mean, I know that at this point in my life, and I'm sure that Brother Jordan and Brother Thomas can tell us that sometimes as men, we should
So
just bite, just bite the inside of your mouth and just say that and Bill Cosby, Eddie Murphy style. Okay. Okay. Because sometimes is it worth it? Because sometimes it may not even be worth it. It may not even be worth that whole hassle. Because could be worked out on the back end instead of on the front end. And we should know better than that as men, that we don't have to get our shine in the front because we probably gonna pay for the whole waxing. So
you ain't lying. Well, I'm gonna jump in because Ron in and out because he see me. So I'm gonna just jump in real quick. The topic about what does it mean when we stay silent, right? That's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as men, there are times when it's better for us to stay silent because just our presence says a whole lot. Sometimes when we talk about our kids, and the mom might say, for those brothers who are not living in the home with their kids, sometimes it's better not to even say anything and come back at mom about the back and forth about you not being this and you not being that, but just show up. We ain't got to say a whole lot. Just show up. So I think in those scenarios when we're staying quiet, but we're being present, as they say, your actions speak louder than your words. I think that, as far as fatherhood is concerned, is one of the most key parts of our positions as men in our families. Is a lot of times it's about us being physically present and not necessarily speaking words. I'm sure there's a million children around this country that could tell us about promises made by fathers that don't live in the home that says he's gonna come pick us up. We hear it in a million rap songs about dad coming to get us, and we waiting outside, waiting on dad to never pull up to the house and get us. So when the perspective as far as staying silent, like I said, sometimes it's better to not make the promise and be present than to say something and then not fulfill it. As men, you often hear is better to show than to say. And that is part of what I believe in anyway. A lot of times people won't hear from me. They'll just see me and just know, oh, okay. I didn't know you was doing it like that. I ain't had to put nothing on social media. I didn't have to put out a news blast, a news story, nothing. I just showed up and you see me doing what I'm doing. So I think as fathers and as men, our actions are really what it's all about. Many of us could tell the story of our parents or our fathers never saying "I love you," and that's because they didn't know what those words meant. But because they kept the roof over your house, over your head, bought you clothes and put on your back, that's how they showed love. So I think a lot of times for us, it's more about actions and not necessarily words.
Yeah,
No, I like that. I was thinking about I think it's a proverb that says, "A fool speaketh everything on his mind." I'm gonna say it again. It says, "A fool speaks everything that's on his mind." And so when I think about that silence, we got to understand before you can understand the value of words. You got to appreciate the worth of, of silence. So before you can again, before you can understand the worth of words, you got to understand or be able to appreciate the worth of silence. I think personally, men, we invest words, right? I think, and so men use words as an investment. Women use words as an inspiration. And so I think every conversation for a man is a negotiation. Before we give it a response, we have to figure out how to go about telling the truth without lying to. And so we consider a lot of things. We consider the past, the present, and the future of what we're getting ready to say. This is what I mean by men invest words. Women, they try to use words to inspire or encourage, same thing, synonyms of each other. And so they're using words for that particular moment when they speak. It's always for that moment. But for men, our words transcend moments. Our words are movements. And so we think about the past, the present, and the future of what we're going to say. So that means that our words and our language is attached to our legacy. And that's the worth of a man's words. This is why we don't waste them. You understand? On just rhetoric, and not saying we're all that, but I think even the most simple man is still wise just on the position of way of how God created him. Just on the premise of how God created him. Even a foolish man still exercise and demonstrate a level of wisdom that he may not even be aware. And so that's just my take on why what the silence of a man is really saying.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Well, I'd like to add for you one for you guys. I'm an advocate for communication. The same word, location, and communication. We know that words are like bullets. Once said or once fired, they cannot be taken back. That's something all of us need to keep in mind. Also, being silent means you're listening, or hopefully you're listening. Because most times in a conversation, two people are talking, and that's ineffective communication, if that's the right word. So if you are able to learn the skill of listening, meaning you listen till the person is complete, or the person says to you, are you listening to me? Yes, I am. You let the person speak till they're finished. Then you listen, understand, and respond. Communication is not hard. And in fact, silent is a form of communication. The hardest part is to try and figure out what that person is thinking. And that goes to what Johnny said. I believe once a person is not responding, then we go to the actions. Because most times actions speak louder than words, as was said earlier. So for a male not to be silent, it could be I don't want to be bothered, because everything is about time. Sometimes we got some topics that are really tough. I just come in from work and we're going to face a topic. I haven't taken a shower yet. I haven't eaten yet. Time is also important when it comes to communication, especially in a relationship. So keep that in mind. There's a time and place for everything. And they had a guy in the courthouse. I remember this case years ago. The judge, he would not talk. They couldn't do nothing to him because the guy would not talk. The judge would talk to him, he wouldn't respond. The lawyer talked to him, he wouldn't respond. The judge sent him to get psych evaluation, he came back, he wouldn't talk. In that situation, you need to talk. So keep that in mind. Food for thought.
What was the end result of what happened to him, Rohan?
I wish I knew, Ron. I watched the case for a while.
Because for me, I'm thinking that talking sometimes, and for me, and it's just where I see it. Yes, I believe strongly in communication, but sometimes we already know that it's not going to be communication. It's going to be what someone's perception is, and they feel that they're right about their perception. And the only thing that you're going to do by someone engaging that is make the situation worse. When sometimes you can let them have the moment. Listen, I think as men, we can be bigger and let people have things. You know, I asked a guy, you know, dealing with some of these kids I'm dealing with, yeah, you know, they say some of anything. And they actually sometimes are looking for a response. And the response would then set the tone for what's going to happen. And then, listen, sometimes when we say something, we don't realize it. But the person baited us to say it so they could use that same statement forever and ever and ever and ever. And we can't ever get rid of it. So I think it's patient, to be stoic, to be meticulous in realizing that when we use our tongue, make sure it is very clear and not just to go back and forth for banter, because if that happens, we're going to lose some of the respect that in many and I've seen this where it go almost like the thing, and Rohan, you know what I'm going to say. It go like the thing if a woman give you a hit, a lick, right?
Yes.
You shouldn't hit them back because that's not being a man. You should be like, whatever. And sometimes we got to take.
Slap you.
Oh well.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you have to say that, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes. I mean, you never know. But I think that there's a way to, because there's going to be a point that we can't ever live some of that down. If we say what we really want, because I know I have really being this thing like I call being transparent, and then sometimes being transparent almost mean like you don't care, but I do care. That's why I'm being transparent, but they don't see it that way. How could you say that? That is hurtful. That's, you know, that's hurt, that's bad, this and that. And that wasn't my purpose. It was just to be very transparent about how I felt. And now I have to go back and say, maybe I should have never even said. And you know how many of you guys on here, and it's a good question, have said something to not just women, but to anybody, and you realize I shouldn't have said it. I should have just shook my head. Yeah, yeah. Because now you done hit the button for the nuclear bomb to be you. So it's
No, but
very. Go ahead,
Ron,
bro.
okay. I think words give birth to words. And so I think if we're going to truly grow and evolve and be transparent, then guess what? I have a right to be wrong, but I also have a right to be sorry. You understand? And so forgiveness is a two-way street. And so guess what? Just like I can insult, I can apologize. You understand? I have a right to exercise all those emotions. So don't be transparent and saying men don't speak and men don't communicate. And then when we do communicate, you don't like how we communicate. You understand? And not be ready for the communication.
That's my dog. My dog always goes back me.
Lightburn.
Listen, I will go into any debate, any battle with Lightburn. You know why? Because what I've learned is, see how I set it up? And I set it up for us to be, we need to be stored, we need to do this. And then Lightburn that came right behind me with the boom bang. Because I'm saying we know what's gonna happen in normal circumstances, but now he brought this, the part that Lightburn just brought up is the part that we really want to say. Listen, you say we don't communicate, you say we don't talk to you, you say we don't do this, and now we're being victimized. We're being accused of being aggressors. We're accused of being biased. We're accused of being abusive when we do communicate. So either we gonna keep our mouth closed and don't say anything. Are we going to be able to be transparent and be truly tell you how we feel? And guess what? I feel that it is so much more healthier. Listen, I know it might not be so healthy for them, but I know it's healthy for me. Because I ain't got to walk around with all that on my chest, clogging up my arteries.
Right.
No, listen. This real deal. Clogging up my arteries, tightening up my lungs, you know, swelling my feet. You know, all those things is happening to me, not because of anything environmentally, but the mental capacity of trying to hold on to something that I really need to be saying and getting off of my chest to the person that I'm trying to communicate and want to resolve. this issue with. Because that's the other part. It's not just about saying what I want to say. I'm looking at how do we resolve this, that from our conversation that we have, we go on and can go ahead and be regular. Everything can be cool because we can agree to disagree and can keep on moving on. To disagree don't mean it's the end of the road. It means that we disagree, and okay, we disagree, and let's find out how we gonna finish out what we got to do,
Right?
And how we gonna do it. I don't want my daughter to wear short little skirts. Her mom do. So where do we come? Oh, put them tights on then.
Gotcha.
Stop.
I think
You see,
Fred was going to say something. Fred was going to say something.
Yeah.
Fred Adams, you there? I guess he must have stepped.
He's there.
Fred?
I would say that the tongue sometimes is powerful than the fix. And like Ron said, sometimes, we say things and they can set us up that the words that they know that we're going to use. And sometimes, to me, I don't say too much. If all the kids around, whatever, hey, how you doing now? All right. I don't say too much. I just sit there and listen, and then once they get done or whatever, I wait to calm down, and then I'll talk. But sometimes, like you said, both of us can say something out of character, and then they'll hold that grudge against you. Oh, you told me this, or you told me that, or you told me to get out. You told me this and that. You know what I'm saying? So to beat the purpose of that, to me, sometimes I don't say nothing. If I do speak, I speak, softly, quietly, whatever, or I just walk away. And sometimes we don't walk away. That's not the best thing, because sometimes, vice versa, they know the button they really get you, especially if they know you.
I hear that. Okay. Yeah, one of the things that my wife often says when I don't say anything, she say, "So you just leave me to interpret, to figure out, to assume what it is that we talking about." So I'm like, "What?" Yeah, because we talking and you don't say nothing. There's this big elephant in the room. So now I'm left to my own vices to figure out, oh, so that's what he meant by that. No, I didn't say nothing. So how could you listen? What they say, you win it, you do if you win if you do it, you do if you don't, something like crap like that, right?
You're damn if you do and you're damn if you don't.
There you go.
I'm glad you mentioned that just now. If someone is silent, you have what your wife did, and I have done it, and maybe other fathers in this program has done it. We have answered our own question, and it really doesn't work, because then you haven't communicated, meaning one side speak, the other side speak, and this is probably I'm just going to do it because you didn't answer, and that can be dangerous. Keep that in mind.
No, you're right. No, but you know what I love about Rohan and everything you guys saying, because and I got a new, and I have to really just back to your word, Ron, Dr. Ron. I just got an epiphany, Ron. I'm going to be transparent. You know what I realized with my silence, how I distribute my silence, how I use my silence, how I initiate my silence. I use my silence for two things. I call it the 2 P's: the process and the punish. That's how I use my silence. I use it again to process and to punish. And so it's hard to figure out which way I'm using it. My wife, and my wife, she's a sweetheart. It's the best wife I'm ever gonna have. I'm sure I'm only gonna be married one time in my whole life, and that's it. And that's it, because she knows me that well.
Yo, this sound like a disclaimer. This sound like a
disclaimer. It is. I'm sure. Yeah. Maybe I'm scared of it too. But I'm not scared of her. I'm really inspired by always. But for the time we've been together 21 years, 17 years, married last month. I've used that, and I'm not just for her, but I think I've used my silence to process, and then again, 50% of the time to process, 50% of the time to punish. Not just with her, but just about particularly with her, with my kids, and anybody I may have had an intimate relationship. And so that can be cross-culture. It can be at a job, it can be anybody I'm in close proximity with. So, but it's hard to tell because it's very covert. You can use it covertly. You understand? If that's, for lack of a better word. And I can use it in a covert manner, because it's hard to really tell which way I'm going with it. And I can say, okay, I'm processing when I'm really punishing you with it. And I can say I'm punishing you with it when I'm really processing. And so it's a very, again, but that's where the wisdom come in at. But again, it may be, and again, wisdom can be distributed 2 ways. It can be distributed in a good way as well as a bad way. So just to be transparent as a man, I've been facetious in my way, sometimes 50% of the time, and using my silence. And so I mean, I would love to hear from some other guys as well, but I just thought I would be transparent on that one and
Go
throw
ahead,
myself
Castro.
under the damn bus.
Well, hold on. Let me just say this, and I think this is very clear. And I think that the conversation we're having is really evolving. But I can't leave out this part about sometimes you not communicating, right? Is you can't communicate if somebody give you a command, right? They give you a command or they tell you what's going to happen, right? You can say, no, I don't agree with that. No, I'm not going to do it. You can do all of those things. But the question sometimes becomes, why? What is it really going to change? Or is that going to lead you into discourse? Is that going to lead you into arguments? Is that going to lead you into, because if it's really not that big of a deal to you, but this is the part that I learned. It may not really be a big deal to us, so we stay silent. But to the other person, it is. That's why they're even saying this initial thing in the first place, or to get a response from you so they can maybe even express more of whatever it is that is even under this comment or this incident that just happened. And so we sometimes as men will, like you say, nip it in the bud, like born will, we'll put it on pause and be and you can't listen. If you try to start a fire in the ocean, it ain't gonna happen. So we act like oceans. We don't bring no oil. We don't bring no gas. We straight water. Nothing. We just be like water. And so here they just lighting the matches, and we just the water. So they nothing. All it's doing is that's all they getting. Whoever it is, and we're not just saying partners. We're saying with everybody, people at our job, whatever. And that's because a lot of times we don't have anything to really say about because we are understand the situation. We are wise to what's going on. The problem becomes is when we do have something and we do feel some way about it, and we got a tanker of kerosene underneath that water. And what happens then? Because if we don't really communicate, we usually end up in the doghouse, as I would say a lot of times, end up in the doghouse because of the way we handle that situation, because we really, really, right. And let me just say that the last part, and the reason that is because we have held back. When you hold back and you feel like I ain't said nothing all this time, and that might be also the other problem. So that's why we got a giant canister of flammable underneath the water, because we have said everything. It didn't matter. And then when something matters, we got this giant canister of flammable that we ready to respond with, and that's where the problems come.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I think most men. Oh, who's that? You go ahead.
No, Fred was gonna say something, but LJ, you were in place.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say that most men, I think all of us can probably agree that we have raised the level of men being silent to an art form. And what we do, if like most men, we will make a statement. We'll say, if someone asks us our opinion, we'll tell them what our opinion is. Okay. But then we stated our opinion. We're not going to restate our opinion over and over again. If something happens, we just look at them and we just be silent. We say, and they know what that means, and also we use it for our kids, like you said, as punishment. You can look at them across the room. We've got nonverbal communication is just as powerful, and we use our silence in many, many ways. I love it, especially like say when our wives say, "Do I look fat in this dress?" You better be silent. That's the time to keep your mouth closed. So but go ahead, Fred. Go ahead, continue on, man.
Go ahead, tell it, Brother Lawrence. Tell it.
Sometimes saying something and sometimes not saying nothing. Yeah, how can I put this? We don't realize what we say until somebody else call us out on that. You know.
Mhm.
Okay, that was quick, Fred.
Oh yeah, right. But he's saying something like, yeah, I get what you're saying, Fred. You talk about letting somebody define your narrative,
Correct.
or define what you have to say.
Yeah.
And I think now that's one of the dangers of being silent as well, because somebody can actually hijack your narrative.
Correct.
You understand? And I think oftentimes why men are at a what they call it, a public deficit. I can say a public deficit right now. It's because our silence in reverse kind of hurts us, because we got everybody trying to define what our narrative is, because we chose to take the road of silence at that particular time. So sometimes people will just assume, and you know what they say about assume. You know, when you assume, you make an ass out of me and you. And so I'm not gonna let them make an ass out of me, but you understand? You can make an ass out of you, but you ain't gonna make an ass out of me. And so I think, again, back to my original point about men invest their words. You understand? We can't be silent so long. You understand? That we cease to be proactive in investing our words where it needs to be invested. Amen. And so I feel what you're saying, Fred.
Castro, you wanted to join in? You hear me?
He should be there. I think he's there.
Yeah, but I think he mute.
Castro, come on, baby.
Dude, I'm driving.
You're in the game, baby.
I'm in the game. I'm in the driving.
Man,
I'm gonna start off with what Lightborn was saying about a fool speaks his mind, right?
Yeah.
You don't always have to share everything that's in your mind. However, not everybody's worthy of all of our words and our thoughts, right?
You go.
Not in all conversations and at all times.
Yeah.
Also want to jump back on what Lightborn said, to punish or to process. I'm going to add one more, which Ron said, was pause. I learned in Toastmasters that a well-placed pause creates drama, creates tension, creates excitement in the conversation.
It sure does.
Earlier today, me and my wife were kind of going back and forth, and I just looked at her with love, but like just in pause, and pissed her the fuck off. Mm-hmm. And I just, in my head, I'm like, I'm not punishing you. I'm pausing, I'm processing, mm-hmm. But I am bringing this drama to this pause.
Yeah. And
I realized that the reality of it is I didn't respond because she wasn't ready to take what I was going to fucking say. Because they want to pry, they want to push, but let me just be quiet because I don't really have anything good or positive to bring to the conversation. So I'm just gonna pause and let this drama kind of just escalate in a sense, right? Yeah. However, when we're silent, I've realized that I'm silent because I'm still in shock that this shit is even happening. Like what? Like, yeah. Why do I need to respond? Why do I have to react? Right? I don't always have to react to everything that's said or is done, or right. We have what you said earlier, right, Lightborn. We have the ability to even ask for apologies or autocorrect or say, you know what, I misspoke. I don't have to be so tactical with all my thoughts. However, being quiet and silent in a sense is power, right? So I add those two P's, pause and power. You don't have to get, because I think people just want, or I think society has programmed us to be fast, in the reaction. Oh, I wish your mother, nah, you know what? I don't, but what Jay-Z said, what you eat don't make me shit, right? Just because it moves you doesn't mean it moves me. And I'm going to respond when it's time for me to move at my pace. Yeah. Right. So I'll jump in and say, from just hearing what you guys were saying, but as I was processing, right? Just because I'm quiet doesn't mean I'm not thinking, doesn't mean I don't have the capacity to respond. I don't need to react. I can respond at my pace, at my time, when I'm ready to move, right? And I think that's the power as men that we carry and we yield. That we give away our power when we're reactive, and we just diarrhea of the brain and the mouth, versus being tactical and methodical and precise in our words and how we move. But you push it long enough, I'll diarrhea at the mouth at your ass too, right? And that's when we lose ourselves. So I'm still working in that. I'm a work in progress in that. But I'm gonna make sure that I try not to apologize, because I don't want to do something that I have to apologize to.
There you go.
Ramirez, I want to say something to all of you fathers.
I'm gonna lay that there.
As a health advocate, I'm going to put this to you guys. One of the things that I hear a lot in class that I teach is stress. It's a word that is used in all the classes. Why do people have heart attack? They're stressed, right? That's the word everyone pulls them to use. I'm going to say this. A toxic form of communication, a toxic form of environment can raise your stress level and kill you.
True.
Now, I'm not saying to you it don't happen, because we're human beings. We are going to cross paths. But try your best to maintain level and cool. The heart doesn't do well when we are elevated, we are excited, especially in a manner where it's your eyes are open, your heart is beating fast. Be very careful when you go into those situations, because it seriously can affect your health. And in some ways, women talk and they talk and they talk. But as a male, I think we are responsible for the temperature in the household. We're like the thermostat. So keep that in mind for your personal health.
Yeah, well, Rohan, I would agree with you that it would be nice that we could do that, right? But I think that what I'm seeing a lot of, and what's current, especially when we see our young boys who are being raised in houses with no fathers around, they're highly emotional, they're highly uncontrollable. I'm saying that is the newer generation of these kids. Now, older generation, it was a little bit different. They're not as high, they're not maybe my generation. Let's say our generation of single sons and daughters. We are a lot more mama boyish. Like we loving our mom. We want to be with them. We want to do things. The new generation of kids are like taking on those emotional those attributes as men. So that's where I think one of our issues is. So we have to think about some of that when we're actually, because this idea of being able to be silent and take a moment as a man to say, I ain't got to say nothing about that. I ain't got to get revenge on that. I ain't got to be petty. I ain't got to, listen, I'm a man. I'm gonna be all right. And it is funny because that's what a lot of times you hear. Listen, we know many brothers who would like to have their children, who don't have their children, right? And you know what they said? It's all right. I'll just go make me another family. And they the perfect dad. They got the kids at the park. They pushing them in the swing. They had the pre-K graduate. They doing all the things that they wanted to do with their other child.
Yeah.
But they didn't have the complete control and I won't say control, the complete collaboration with the person who did have the complete control to do so. And so now that also starts this other thing of this resentment for this kid here saying, well, why my dad, he got a whole goddamn family. I was talking to him, he got a whole family. They look right. Why he can't do that with me? Yeah. But the problem is he probably could do it with you, but he don't have all the, and we know it can be done because we got a lot of people out here doing it. We got a lot of people out here co-parenting, doing it, and they're doing it the right way. They're establishing the relationships they need to have with the moms, and the moms establishing the relationships they need to have with the dads, and those things. And again, to bring this back into the what you were saying, Rohan, about our health and what have you. All that stuff weighs on your mind, and what weighs on your mind weighs on your body and weighs on your spirit. And so if you are unhealthy with these things in your mind, if you can't get a good night's sleep because you're still thinking about, you know, I didn't get to say the other word, or I didn't get to say what I need to say, I didn't get to do what I want to do, you're not going to be healthy. You're not going to be good for your job. You're not going to be good for your family. You're not going to be good for your kid. You're not going to be anything. So I agree. We have to really be thinking about how these things affect us holistically, not just in the family or also in our, because the number one thing that many men do when they are uncomfortable and things don't feel like they're going their way, they do two things. They go get some fire. They go get the fire, the liquid fire, and then they make everything go away. Or they go get some real fires, make everything go away. Or they go get some wet, and then that make it go away for the time that they had the wet.
Hey.
Or they just shut down. They shut down.
They shut down. Okay.
Hey, John, you wouldn't know him. You wouldn't know him, Ron. But Ron was talking about the different health factors that comes with I guess just holding things in or whatever case may be. Yeah. And he said, he was talking about the stresses and different things like that. Where I got off the boat is he talking about you can have swollen ankles. Your ankles gonna swell up. I don't think that was one of the symptoms.
That man said you keep a lot of water in.
And so with the swollen ankles, just leaving that part out. I'm gonna omit the swollen ankle part.
Well, it does happen. The swollen ankle does happen.
Well, that's enough. Trust me, that ain't got nothing to do. That got to do with something totally. That's another health issue.
Right.
Yeah, you being solid because of that.
Yeah. I'm thinking like the gout. I'm like, what the hell? But I mean, that just tickled the hell out of me. But with this, I think one of the most, and I'm gonna say it's a stigma, because we're in the mental health era now, so everybody's using stigmas. I think one of the most unjust stigmas in the world is this here, and it's a very oxymoronic stigma at that, because it says these words, and it's pretty. I think it's an African American colloquialism. It goes like this: if you don't have anything nice to say,
don't say nothing at all.
Don't say nothing at all. That is the best African American colloquialism I ever heard. The worst, actually. African American colloquialism. Here's why. It's very oxymoronic. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say nothing at all. I'm like, that's ironic, because the Civil War wasn't built on that. The Boston Tea Party wasn't built on that. The Civil Rights Movement was. I mean, all that stuff is contrary to the Civil Rights Movement, the Boston Tea Party, and the Civil War. So I'm like, how can that even be logical? And this is the stuff they try to, and I'm being honest with you, that said to Black children, and particularly Black boys. Yeah. And so if you condition a Black boy, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all, then it licenses us and almost weaponizes us, right? Our silence.
I got you.
Because we can't think of anything nice to say when something nasty is said or done to us. You understand? And so now where I go to what they call 0 to 100 real quick, it's because how do I deal with nasty stuff that's said or done to me?
I got you.
Do I kill you? You understand? And now you got to understand, for people that, and particularly a gender that has been conditioned to do that, now you're trapped in a box. You're isolated to say, okay, well, you know what? I can't really say anything nice about this nasty thing that was either said or done to me. So now, guess what? But I am notorious for my action. And I told you guys once before on here, Dr. Nobel said, people rather be infamous than ignored. So how I'm going to make you remember me? Or better yet, I love how the fella say on the street, how I'm going to make you feel me, player?
Hey.
You understand? And so now I'm like, okay, now I got to go from 0 to 100 real quick, because I haven't really conditioned myself to really understand what it is to say something nice than when something is nasty or nasty is said or done to me. And so now I find myself into this real high homicide and having homicide as an action. You understand? And so we're talking about all this senseless violence. I'm like, no, the violence will make sense if you make sense out of it. And that's what we do on these fatherhood think tanks. We make sense out of the things that we call intellectual and smart people call senseless. I'm like, hey, you got all the damn sense. So there should not be nothing senseless to you if you're functioning in the fullness of your ordained intelligence. So don't tell me it's senseless, especially when it's happening to your people. So you mean that's the only narrative you gonna give me, or senseless violence? That tell me right now they're paying you too much for your brain to be too relaxed. But that's just me right.
You know what? I listen. All I can ever say is, like I said, man. If somebody said it, listen. I take on Umar Johnson and what's the other guy name? I take me and Lightborn and take them on and take them around. We'll take them around the world, Doc. I'm just telling you the facts, because if you didn't hear what Lightborn just said.
Oh, they heard.
It's looking.
Understand.
But if you don't understand, it's called looking at things multidimensional, looking at it transgenerational, looking at it how it's not just cycles, but multi cycles. And how do we not? We don't need to break. I was telling a client I had today, we don't need to break the other day. We don't need to break the cycles. We need to rewrite the cycle. The cycle gonna continue. It's the idea of not saying, "Oh, I'm gonna break the cycle." Yeah, you break it, but that's not going to change the situation. The way you change it is that we make a new cycle, and now we got a new strain that it works the way it works for us. Where you say, "Hey, you Black and you proud," and you say what you feel when you feel however you feel about what you feel. Not be quiet, go in the back of the bus and sit down and shut up. You know and again, if this is the kind of intellectual, thinking that's going on in this fatherhood think tank. I mean, I'm only saying it because I'm sitting here listening to it, and I'm really good at listening to a lot of BS. I have a lot of clients, and I listen to a lot of BS, and it goes in your ear, and you suck it up. But when you be able to start thinking about things, because what Lionel just said just was like striking, because he was talking about one thing, but we really need to look at what's behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And that's the big part. We talking about it, but what's behind the curtain? Because what's behind the curtain is really what we're seeing on the stage. And how do we fix that behind the curtain, like one kind of presented? So, man, listen, listen, I don't often get stumbled for word, but Lightboy had two. He done said two things tonight. Kind of like he must be on one because his birthday tomorrow. So I know that might be, as you get older and wiser, you start getting more inspiration, and the spirits come into your brain. Everything happens. That's why I keep telling people, hey, I keep telling young people, hey, pray that you get our age, because you're gonna see life in a whole nother way. You think that everything you got going on popping now. When you get our age, you're gonna see things in a whole nother way. When you get LJ and Elder Thomas age, you're gonna see things in different dimensional ways, because they got generations of years of seeing things and being able to process it and reprocess it to today's setting. So just slow down, enjoy your life, experience as much as you can, and as much as possible, know when to do the three things that was described. You said the punish, the process, and the pause. Listen, the 3 P's right there, that's really good for communication for men and for fathers.
Or as Castro said, and use it for power, because because your silence can be powerful in the moment. So I want to make sure we add that fourth pause, but you gotta be wise enough to understand when to use it for power. So I think that's why you may not have said it wrong, because everybody ain't wise.
Well, I mean, listen, let's just make it into a frame. Listen, I'm always looking into making a frame. The way you have power. No, listen. The way that you can have power in your communication is the 3 P's.
Okay.
So power is overall. So the power that we used to taking is through our strength, snatching it, abusing, manhandling, using our body that we're bigger. But maybe we can use our power in another way in our communication by pause, process,
Or punish.
and punish.
Yeah.
But you know what? That is the power. The power
Right,
is
that-
knowing when the power is knowing when to use it.
Right.
There
And
you go. Okay.
that's why I put it on top. That's why I said it's not a fourth. The power is all of those is the real big thing. So see how we becoming. Listen, man, this is mad. Listen, folks, if you're out there, listen, if you're not subscribed to this, if you don't get the messages, if you don't come on and get some of this, you don't rewatch this, listen, I know it's tons of stuff to watch on YouTube, on Instagram, all this stuff, but you are missing some key things to help you, especially if you're a father and if you're a mother, to understand this guy you're dealing with. To understand how he operating and why he operating this way. Because you somewhere listening to the ladies over here in this world, and they only can tell you what they thinking about operating, how they operate. If you listen to us, you get to see how your husband, your baby's father, your children's father, your boyfriend, your doodle Beth, you get to find out how they operate, how your man operating. You know that doodle
Sugar
Beth,
daddy,
right?
all of that.
Yeah.
Hey,
All right,
brother Pat.
No, yeah, I was gonna say, brother Pat. I ain't see Pat in a minute. Hey, what's up, Pat?
Pat was gonna say something.
In a
He looked like he about to have to step off for a minute. I just, again, man, when that statement.
What's up, my
Pat's
brother? I'm
back.
sorry. I don't mean to
Go
cut you
ahead.
off.
Go ahead.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
I did not mean to cut you off. What's going on, my brother? I'm driving. So I was like, I'm gonna chime out. Yeah, it's been a minute. Glad to be back, bro. I've been begging Castro for the number to call in, so I'm blaming it all on Dog. You know, I've been trying to get back on.
It's good to see you, man. It's good to see you. I know you're down there in the South doing your thing with the business and all of that.
Absolutely. Can I chime in for two? Like, I got something I just want to just kind of, and I'll let just 2 seconds.
You don't got. You can take more than 2 seconds, and you can always chime in, brother. This is ours. It's ours, not ours.
I
it's
love
ours.
it. I love it. I love it. One thing that I was just curious about, because Brother Light just went there, right? I love the analogy, but I did not like the reference, references in that, and it kind of missed me a little bit, because I was like, how did we fare in that? When it was brought up, the examples of the Civil War about being silent, and, you know, if you don't have anything nice to say, then be silent. How did we do in the Civil War? I mean, I don't think we'd be having this conversation had we not. I don't know how many people on here, you know, have a Masonic background. We talk about the Boston Tea Party. How did we do with that? You know, civil rights. How did we do with that? Bus boycott, sit in. How did we do with that? I don't think that always that it was a bad thing to begin with silence. However, I believe that there's purpose in the fight. The fight has to have a purpose to it. You know, it's not just go out here and, man, they called me the N-word, I'm just gonna punch them. You know, today's climate, all they're looking for is for you to react. And if you react, oh my God, you're getting, you know, you're going to jail, you're going to assault, this, that, and the third. So there has to be some semblance of silence, just like when Castro was talking about with his, you know, he and his wife earlier today. And that was one of the things that I kind of muted out again, because I was like, ooh, that's my thing. I use silence as power. I know when I use silence. I use silence strictly as power, because I'm gonna control the narrative. I'm gonna control the situation, because standing at 6'7" and African American, the first thing they do is look at me and go, "Oh my God, oh he did." You know, he can. If I do anything, if I blow, if I get mad, it's just like, oh, he's, you know, throw him in jail. Been there, done that. The black man, been there, done that. So a lot of my usage of silence is for power. Is to take the power so that I'm not allowing somebody else to have the power over me. So that you have the narrative. Correct. And so that was my little, thank you, Brother Ron. I appreciate it. That was my little 2 cents I wanted to just kind of throw out. And Lightborn, you brought it, bro. I was just kind of, you know, hey, listen, we can always agree to disagree. I just thought the examples were, you know.
And that's what I love, and I'm gonna let Lightborn jump in. That's what I love about the whole think tank thing, is that you have so many diverse opinions on this, on one subject about silence, and it's the same thing that Lightborn literally just said. because somebody else would have said, well, they really weren't silent. They might not have said something, but their action of boycotting the bus wasn't silent. That was very loud, as a matter of fact. You got me? So I guess, and as we've talked about, a lot of times for us as men, it's not about our words, but our actions. And in being silent, that's an action in itself. So I think as long as we understand that, we go in with the topic tonight about what does it say when a man stays silent, it could say a lot of things. It could say either one, he doesn't understand, or one, he's processing. He's doing it for pop. Man, we just got all the answers to your topic today, Ryan.
I mean, and this is and Johnny, this is why the Fatherhood Think Tank is reliable and has validity.
Gotcha.
Because it is not just one person's opinion. It is a multi-cosm of fathers who give multiple opinions that we can really put together, and you can work for yourself. So you can say, well, I agree with some of Lightburn and some Castro stuff. And also I like that thing that Johnny said, and then they can put it together for themselves to make up what's going to be their way. And this is what we have to really start to do to rebuild fatherhood, because we have people who telling people this is what fatherhood should be and this is what you do. And what if I can't fit into that? That's been our problem that long already. We've been trying to fit into someone's idea of fatherhood instead of fitting into our own idea of fatherhood with good interventions, with good ideas and good other plans from other fathers who have been successful and who have been failures. So don't get it twisted that we just looking at the father who has been the great super father. That's the only one we want to look at. Because we all know that if you fly high and you always fly high, what you gonna do when you gotta fly low? You can't fly low, you can only crash. But if you know how to fly low and stay close to the ground and keep hovering, then you go up high and back up high. And those are the kind of things that we try to present at the Fatherhood Think Tank. So it is, I am blessed every Tuesday and Wednesday when I have you guys come on here. And because the dream is to get this kind of message, not just from me, because it's when I work, I can give people this message. Then I got to also then be accountable that everything I said is 100% legit and this and that. And people be like, well, that's your experience. And guess what? In my experience isn't Brother Jordan's experience, our brother Elder's experience. These guys got almost years of marriage. They're not been alive. So you can definitely say their experience, and when they start talking about fatherhood, it's completely different. When you talk about a young father, 12 years like Castro, he could give you tons of experience. When you talk about this blended idea of fatherhood, of being with multiple mothers and children, and blending that all into the traditional marriage with my wife, you got light boy who can bust it out the park. You got the fathers, you got these fathers who once was divorced, had children, and now moved on with their kids fully intact. Rohan and Johnny, and then even move on to a new wife. We know we waiting. We praying for you, Rohan. We know you want to get you. We praying for you. We rooting for you. Let me say we rooting for you to get your nice young tenderoni that you're trying to get to start your next new family. I'm here for you. I know how you Jamaican guys, y'all get that Guinness stout, and y'all get y'all young ones and get them popping. So I know. Well, I'm rooting for you, brother. I'm rooting.
Ron. I have been asked to someone has asked me over 5 times to get married from different women who want to get married. And I'm going to say this here, straight up, they want to get married. And I say this very clearly. Marriage is an institution. It is a destination. You just don't meet someone and get married. You got to go through the system. Situationship, relationship, marriage. It's not just getting married. So keep that in mind. That's one of the fathers to keep that in mind.
Oh my God.
Listen, hey, Pat,
I have to put my little sleep. I want to kiss him goodnight.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll be back in about.
Okay,
Y'all,
Pat, I love what you said always. Much love for you. We definitely got to come down to your shop with the coffee and the pastry. Them cookies were still good. I'm still trying to lose the weight on them,
It was good. For real.
So always a pleasure seeing you on you, man. You're nothing but an inspiration. I was thinking about like a real time experience or real time comparison of trying to just give you, try to connect you to what I was saying. And I often think about two narratives that doesn't really change. I think about Will Smith and I think about 50 Cent. Now here it is. Will Smith, what you're saying is trying to be the epitome of everything you just said. Everything. And they crucify the hell out of him, right? Here's this guy, and I can say, who does intentionally try to do everything right. As a matter of fact, above right, of what a man really should be. He exemplifies that. I give him
until he's slapping people on the stage. But go
exactly
ahead.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
But exception to that, but guess what? We need that because without that, we wouldn't really have nothing against him. And that's the truth. Okay. And here's a man who consistently, right, who consistently rides on the of what we really shouldn't be. And I love 50 Cent, but I'm like, really, but that's not what you really would want to be morally. You understand? Who clowns people anytime somebody falls. Because I mean, the Bible tell you about, hey man, you don't laugh. Even Farrakhan said, hey man, when people fall, you don't laugh, you learn. And so here's a man of what you really shouldn't be, you understand, versus a man of what you really should aspire to be. And who get crucified the most? The one you should aspire to be. And so I'm saying that to say this. Both have never really changed their narrative. What I noticed, because people by nature are cowards. Remember, I'm a social worker, so because I'm a social worker, it never stops me from social working. And so I see it's the social worker in me that always see the social working in everything I see. And I'm like, wow, it's amazing nobody really comes for 50 Cent. For all the erroneous stuff he say, all the immoral stuff he say, for all the prosecutable stuff he says. You understand? They leave 50 Cent alone. But when it comes to the guy that's trying to do right, he gets prosecuted the most. And so what does that tell me? You understand? That tells me that I say, you know what? People will respect you when you own your narrative. And so when it comes to 50 Cent, even though it may not be the right narrative to have, he still stands and owns that narrative. When it comes to Will Smith, he tried to negotiate his narrative. You know why? So he can give equality to everybody he's in a relationship with. But as a result of that, he been get persecuted at every front. And so when it comes to that, you're going to have to understand on what Ron said on how you're going to live to make sure you don't have stresses and heart attacks and your ankles don't swell up. Which I don't. And so I think when you put those two options on the table as a 50 Cent versus the response to 50 Cent versus responses to Will Smith, then it almost, I'm going to be honest with you, it almost makes seem like being a good guy is not the popular thing to be.
But like,
and I'm just saying that, imagine if I could come to that narrative as a man, imagine what that narrative would look like as a boy. And that's all.
But look, Lightburn, you mentioned Will Smith and 50 Cents. We talk about character and the representative. Will Smith tries his best and to maintain his professionalism and his wife and his family. But many people said that when he did what he did, that was his character. So in some sense, he's an actor and he can only act for so long. In fact, all of us can only do that. So 50 Cent may be the character and the Will Smith may be the representative.
Well, that's the thing what I said, and what I mean by, and not saying to you, Rohan.
No, I'm just with us.
Talking. But I'm talking about we're cowards by nature. I said we are cowards by nature. And so it's easy to attack the guy who aspires to do right as opposed to the guy who don't give a damn about it. You feel what I'm saying? And so notice the correction's always on the side of the person that wants to be corrected, as opposed to the person who don't give a damn correct. You don't even want to talk to irrational people because you already made up in your mind, this is going to be a waste of my time.
Yes.
And so what we normally try to do and what God tells us not to do, he said, listen, the physician don't need he said the sick people need a physician, not the physician. The physician don't need to be cured. He's the physician.
He's the physician.
And so what we try to do is fix the people who are on their way to righteousness, as opposed to the people who don't give a damn about it. You know why the difference between the two? Because the work is harder trying to save the one who needs to be saved versus the one who's on his way to being saved. That's the difference. That's what makes us cowards by nature. And that's the difference between 50 Cent and Will Smith.
And it's the difference between being silent and being loud, depending on the topic you're having a conversation about as well. Because when we think of, and I don't want to go on the tangent of Will versus 50. I want to kind of come back to us being about when is it good for a man to be silent, or what does it say when we as men are silent? And we've talked about it from the perspective of our families, whether we're processing or punishing. I don't know, many a times as a kid, I would beg my mama for something and I keep calling her name, mama, mama. And she'd just get, after she told me the first time, I wouldn't hear another response until I got a backhand or something because I kept saying mama. And she would say, when I don't answer you, that means no. But I didn't understand it as a kid till I got the backhand and the explanation. Then I fully got, after she say no the first time, don't keep calling her name because I'm probably going to catch her backhand because she already said no. So in us as far as fathers, when we are silent, it's as Lightburn said at the very beginning, it's either to punish or we're processing. And sometimes we're doing both simultaneously because we don't want to respond, because if we do, we may overreact in our punishment. But yet at the same time, as kids, we growing up, your parents, when you do something wrong and you about to get it, but they're going to stay silent all day. They're going to walk by you. They're going to say hi. They're going to give you a dinner. They're going to make sure you get to watch a little TV. And that whooping coming sometime, but you ain't know when, because this driving you crazy because you about to lose it, because they about to get you. In that particular case, that may be them processing while punishing. And they ain't even thinking about it as punishment. They just processing because they don't want to overdo it, because they think what you did as a child was so extreme and they ain't about to kill you. And they may just do something. They just react right in that moment. So I think us as fathers, that's one of the biggest things for us. As long as we continue to process while we're being silent and not just being silent to be silent. Those are two different things. Because if you're just silent just to not say anything, because as like one else said, you ain't got nothing good to say, that's not really helpful, because it's really doing a disservice to your family. But if you're processing and that's the reason why you're silent, then in that scenario, you're ultimately being the right type of man you need to be for your family, for your children, for your spouse, girlfriend, whatever, because it's allowing you to truly understand what it is you're going to say or do before reacting. Because we all know many men have reacted and ended their own lives. Yes. And as Ron said, either had the fire to burn it down, the fire to drink it down, or the wet to cool everything down, or they just shut up. Mm-hmm. And on the end of the day, all of those are losses for us. So I think that's the biggest thing, is understanding that when we're being silent, that we're processing as men, what is the next proper step to take? And as long as we're doing that, it's a positive thing as far as the silence is concerned. Go ahead,
I'd like to add a quick one, guys.
Thomas looked like he wanted to say something. Go ahead, Rohan.
A quick one. We have over 50,000 suicide in the United States per year. Now, you wonder, why would I bring up suicide in this conversation? Most men are silent because either they don't have a group like our Fatherhood Think Tank to talk to. And what we see happen is a higher rate of men committing suicide. And most times, communication is important. Even if you don't communicate with your partner, you can communicate with someone like Ron who specializes in that, or someone who you trust. Because we're seeing a lot of men don't communicate, do the silent route, and commit suicide. So there are many scenarios here when it comes to being silent. There are many ways how people deal with their feelings, their thoughts, and how they ultimately can end up taking their lives. So that's food for thought.
Definitely.
Okay.
Other Thomas?
Yeah, I just wanted to add a couple of things. Thinking about scripture, it says we are to be slow to speak and quick to listen.
My brother in the book of James right there. Go ahead.
Yeah. We have sometimes if we have a situation with our spouses or with our significant other, sometimes we have to be what I just said, quick to listen. What are they saying and why are they saying it? Is there something that we can deal with now, or maybe later? And because if you speak too quickly, words once they're spoken, they can't be taken back. Thank you.
All right, Brother Rohan.
Well, I said earlier, I think communication, I think I said this around a couple times before. Communication is like, I'm going on your bridge. I want you to listen to what I'm saying. And let's be real. We men sometimes just don't listen. And sometimes women just don't listen too. But it's really going on the person's bridge. Or let me do it simpler. Put your shoes on and look at their viewpoint, what they're talking about. Every night you come in, you leave the slippers in the same place. I've asked you 1,000 times, put the slippers around the back. And you say, you know what? Why should I put it around the back? It's my slippers. But then again, you got to look into what she's saying. She don't like to see the slippers at the front of the door. So I'm just saying, put your shoes on in the other person's shoes to see if you can understand what they're saying.
Thank you for the slippers, Rohan. We appreciate that.
Hold on. This man come on here all this. Hey, listen, man. Listen, Rohan. Collaboration is key. Collaboration comes with communication. If we understood, because she may not like to see the slippers there, right? But have you asked the person, instead of not liking the slippers being there, ask them why they put the slippers there? There may be a reason why, because they may not want to walk in they might not like walking in their socks. They might not want their feet to be, they may put the slippers where they can access. And yes, you might not like how it looks, but that's a part of being able to compromise with your partner and understand that they have different, like, why when I get in the shower, the cold water on? Because the partner only takes cold showers. And I'm freezing every time I get in but you understand that, and then you begin to communicate that and not complain it. What I say is, okay, I know that my partner likes to take cold showers because they like to get woke up when they take the shower and they don't even use the hot water. So when I get in the shower, I need to cut the hot water on and wait a little bit, wait for it to get to it and get in. It's okay. It's okay. But I think sometimes we have this idea that everything got to go my way. Are you going to go my way? This is what I want to know. Listen, everything ain't got to go your way. It can go your way, but understand that nobody is your slave. Okay? No one is a slave to you. They have freedom. They have a mind. Even with our children, we might not want them to do certain things. We might not want them to be a certain way, but they have their own individual person that they got to be able to do. And if we can understand it, maybe it won't change what we want to happen, but at least we understand. And they got a good reason for why they're doing it. Yeah. And if you just lazy as hell and you just leave your shoes all around the house, that's a little bit different.
Okay. That's definitely different.
But you know what I was sitting here thinking about? I think what we do, particularly as men, and this is what I mean by letting people control your narrative. Or we have gone so long by letting people define us that we overlook the obvious. You just said communication. I love that word because they think communication was just supposed to scare the average man. I'm like, no, this communication scare the average dumbass man, but it don't scare the average man. Just consider me the average man. I'm like, okay, let's look at the word. Because one thing about it is, one thing, if you make me pay attention, I'm going to pay attention to you, so now I'm paying attention. Yeah. All right, let's look at the word communication. There's a word in there, particularly the word, let's look at the front part of the word, commune. Commune. Right? Okay. So now I need you to go look up the word commune first before you can really appreciate what the hell communication is. Yeah. And now you can't say that you're ready for communication if you're failing at communing. I hear that. Do you know what commune means? It means to unify equally. And you can't say you're unifying equally if you coming in this conversation with a hierarchy. Do you understand? And so this is why men don't talk, because when we start to talk, we start to break the understanding of what you're talking about down. You understand? And so, I mean, one thing about men, when we're intentional, we're very intentional. This is why we invest our word. Now you're ready to get divorced because you thought you was the smartest person in this damn relationship. That's
we divorced it after that? We divorced it after that?
You will be surprised because of a person who is used to being the hierarchy in that relationship. Yes. And when you start to take your rightful place in that relationship, they're not used to that. You understand? Right. There's no option. So now they have to find another way to conquer you. And that's divorce is usually that way, or at least the talk of it. Mm-hmm. You understand? Mm-hmm. When they don't understand the ratio of what they're in. Mm-hmm. You know, so I'm just saying that to say this, and I'm saying that to say that most of communications, again, I said this on earlier shows, most of communications are distributed in bridges and boundaries. Oh, I love when people get popular. Oh, you got to create boundaries. I said, well, the boundaries are only good when they're benefiting you. You understand? It's amazing when it's benefiting you. But boy, God forbid, the person that you need to benefit from puts up their boundaries. See, everybody want a bridge when it's not benefiting them. But when it's benefiting them, everybody want to put up boundaries. And oftentimes with women, they have bridges, and then at the end of the bridge, they got a boundary because it's a gate you got to pay to get to. I like that. And so I understand, and this is why, I'm like very selective, number one, and who the hell I talk to. And your wisdom should tell you who you can talk to and who you can't talk to. That's why I couldn't just date anybody. People are, you got to date this person. I'm like, no, I can't date that person. I don't give a damn how successful they is. I know how contentious they are too. You should know if you're truly wise. So don't just talk about, oh, she makes this and she makes that. I'm like, yeah, and she gonna make this and that a living hell for you. You understand? So, I'm just gonna back up right there. A lot
of guys need to take nothing. You're right. A lot of guys need to really. I hear a lot of guys talk about all the time. She drive a nice car. She's a supervisor in an office. And when they get there, boy, you hear all the calls coming in. You're like, what? So again, you can't just go off what you see.
Good point. Good point.
Take time to know her.
Amen. Or whatever relationship, whatever ship it may be, situationship, relationship, before you get to that marriage part, as Lil High was saying, whatever that ship may be, make sure you know who the drivers are and all of that good stuff. But Ron, we getting close to the end. You know, this is my wrap-up moment here.
Again,
closer.
Again, tonight
hey man, hey, watch these guys that come late and then be trying to wrap you up. Watch them guys.
It's all good. It's all good. I mean, the goal again was just making sure that we understand that your silence doesn't necessarily mean that you don't care, that you're not saying anything, because as we've learned tonight, that silence is very powerful. As long as you are processing and pausing at the right time, it could be very powerful. Not only just in that aspect, but it could be twofold, where you're processing and punishing. So we've learned that tonight. And just understanding, as far as a man, being in your household, being silent sometimes is the key part, because it allows you time to think about it before you say something. And also don't think that because you're silent, you're not doing anything, because your silence could be the most powerful act in that particular thing and could move people to make better decisions for as a whole for everyone. And then again, once you're silent and you know why you're being silent, don't let anybody make you feel like you have to say something, because as we know, and I from an attorney perspective, you have the right to remain silent, because anything you say can and will be used against you.
Absolutely.
It's not just in the court of law, but in this life we live in. So continue to understand what it means, that it's not always a bad thing to be silent as a man. And we'll pass it off to our moderator, mediator, man that makes it happen, Dr. Ron.
And you know what, Johnny, you hit it right on the head. And the only thing that I will add to what Johnny said, that, you know, really to think about is, when we are being transparent, sometimes we can explain why we're being silent. Listen, we don't gotta tell what we're being silent for, but explain why we're being silent, because we can owe that to our partner, we can owe that to our family, we can owe that to whoever. But we don't have to owe them to say why we're doing and what we're doing. We can just tell them, explain, let them understand that this is something I'm choosing to do, just like you chose to share what you shared with me. I'm just sharing you that I'm just going to be quiet, because I feel like that's the best way for me to take in what you're saying. And maybe I might even think about what you're saying, and maybe come back tomorrow and we can have some dialogue and do something about it when I can really take it in and think about it as a man. And not as a quick, fast responding anti-man.
I wanted to say something before we jump out.
Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
I think silence also allows us to hold space for the situation and the scenario. I think of everything that we talked about earlier, that hasn't been brought up. And as men, we're programmed to always want to fix it in our marriage and our relationships. And we're not taught or conditioned to hold space. And I think silence can do that. Sometimes we just shut up and just hold that space and be that incubator or that container for space after we've done some damage. So I just want to make sure. That kind of just came to my heart, so I wanted to say that before we jumped off.
Good point, my brother. Thank you, Castro. LJ, you were going to say something?
Good night.
Listen, he been on mute the whole time. He been on mute the whole time, right? All of a sudden, he just randomly just go off mute, and all he want to say.
A powerful statement, LJ.
Again, I want to thank everybody for joining us. The people in the audience, people out there, people going to rewatch the repo, people watching the live show right now. Donald, who I've been chatting with on the in the chat group, live on air and on YouTube, and all the fathers that shared and came in tonight. Again, like, share, and subscribe to this. As you can see, hopefully, if you watch this all the way through, you've seen it has some meaningful purpose. Getting out of the everyday YouTube jogging that you might be watching, because I know I watch YouTube all day. I teach from YouTube. I do all everything, but I really wish it was a possibility for me to teach this. I wish I tell the class that I could bring this video into, because I know people in that audience would get a lot from the guys, the fathers that are here. But I am working on that. That's another thing working on too. Working on the curriculum for that, to share with people so they can see these fathers live in person, trying to get this show on the road. With that being said,
Ron, I'm sorry, before you finish up with our chant, Rohan put in the text in the chat, also via text. And I wanted to make sure we understood that, because sometimes we don't communicate using our words, but we'll send a text message in this new era of communication. And sometimes, and we all know, the text message doesn't have the context in which we're trying to say it. It doesn't have the sound, what we may mean. So it's very important that even when you're communicating through the text message, that you take your time to properly have your thoughts in place before you just send a text. Or as many lives have been destroyed by text messages, tweets, Instagram posts, all those things. Just be very careful about that. But go ahead.
And also with the text, which you don't want to use all capital letters.
There you go. Because I know you're talking loud.
And this has worked for me too. On the flip side of that, the text actually helps you break the monotony. And so the text can accomplish what words couldn't.
Gotcha.
And sometimes me and my wife, we'd have arguments with words and we couldn't get nowhere with words. The next day came about and one of us sent a text to try to, mend what the words couldn't accomplish. So that's it. It works both ways.
Yeah. Yes.
And again, there's Lightborn looking at both sides of the spectrum, because I was about to add, for Lightborn said, is that if you're going to use text, right? If you're going to have text, you have to use it, because you can be silent on text and have bigger problems than you ever could imagine. I mean, I know. I'm the master of it. People send me something, and I just believe that is a statement they're making, and I just say, okay, I got you. I don't respond back to them and say I got you. I just understand and know what they mean, and then they'll come back, say you didn't even respond to my message.
Right. Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Correct.
And I was like, yeah, I did. I did respond to, in my mind. I read it. I did all that. I just didn't write you something back because that's not my mode of communication. Now I might call you on the phone to communicate, but you have to, again, these are things that when you talk about communication, when we're talking about communication, talking about using silence and what have you, these are things that you have to really share with the person that you're going to be doing all this with. They have to get a good understanding of who you are and how you operate. And you have to be able to make sure they understand who you are and be able to show them examples that this is me all the time, not just with you. Begin to show them, you see how when I was talking to my mom and she's saying all that stuff and I ain't saying nothing? And then when we got in the car, you kept saying, well, why you didn't tell your mom this? That's the same thing I'm doing with you. So you got to we have to be, listen, and we as the fathers, we need to take the leadership in that and take the role to be able to be that, not just as the fathers, but as men. If we saying that we want to lead the families, we want to lead our communities, we want to lead, we can't just lead by voice alone. We have to lead by our actions and the things that we follow through with. Because there's a lot of things we want to follow through, we can, but we can always follow through with the things that we can do. And with that being said, fathers, repeat after me.
One more thing. I think that we all one thought just came to my mind in the Bible. It says that we are to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Wise in what we speak and what we want to say and do. And harmless as dove is sometimes you need to lay back and let the process go through. Thank you.
Right.
Okay, well, listen, serpents and dogs. So figure out which one you're gonna be like.
No, it was serpents or doves. Doves.
Doves. Okay.
Yeah,
okay. I'm
not
sorry.
dogs.
Yes.
Oh,
We got enough dog problems.
All right, okay, there we go. Serpents and doves. Okay, you're gonna fly, you're gonna be on the ground on your belly. That's your decision.
Yeah.
All right, with that being said, fathers, let's find out what we're gonna be. Fathers, repeat after me. I am.
I am.
I say I am.
I
am a man of honor.
I am a man of honor.
Fathers, I say that I am.
I am.
I say that I am.
I am
a man of courage.
I am a man of
courage.
Fathers, I say that I am.
I am.
I say I am. I am a man of respect.
I am a man of respect.
Respect.
Fathers, I say that I am. Fathers, I say that you are.
You are.
Fathers, I say that we are.
We are.
Come on, give it to me. I say, fathers, we are championship
Championship
fathers.
Hey, wait a minute. Damn, look at favoritism. Look at
yes, sir.
He just pulled that card, didn't he?
Championship father. It is great seeing your faces, gentlemen. Pat, you made it home.
No, I'm out with the bros.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right, y'all.
Y'all have
Everybody
a
have a
blessed
good
one,
night,
man.
man. Great
Blessed
seeing y'all
night.
faces.
All right.
Yeah, God bless you and your families.
For sure.
Love.
You too.
All right, bros. Y'all be
Take
blessed.
care.
All
Have a
right.
good one.
Mhm.
Rue.
Rue.
Rule.
Yeah, maybe joining the meeting late on tomorrow because it's Wednesday night.